So hi everyone, this video is about my own summary for chapter 7 that is entitled as the IP addressing. So this chapter is about the IP addressing. Every machine on a network has a unique identifier. Just as you would address a letter to send in the mail, computers use the unique identifier to send data to specific computers on a network, which is called the IP address. IP stands for the Internet Protocol. Addressing enables data communication between hosts regardless of whether the hosts are on the same network or on different networks. There are two different standards for IP addresses. It is the Internet Protocol version 4, or also known as the IPv4, and the Internet Protocol version 6, that is also known as the IPv6. All computers with IP addresses have an IPv4 address, and many are starting to use the new IPv6 address system as well. An IPv4, or the Internet Protocol version 4, it uses 32 binary bits to create a single unique address on the network. An IPv4 address is expressed by four numbers separated by dots. Each number is the decimal, that is base 10, representation for an 8-digit binary, that is base 2 number, that is also called as the octets. While an IPv6 uses 128 binary bits to create a single unique address on the network. An IPv6 address is expressed by 8 groups of hexadecimal, that is base 16, numbers separated by colons. The IPv4 has a successor to the IPv4 has a theoretical maximum of 4.3 billion addresses, while the IPv6 has a 340 undecillion addresses, and it is designed to be the successor to IPv4. Then, both IPv4 and IPv6 provide hierarchical addressing for packets that carry data. A binary is a numbering system that consists of numbers 0 and 1 called bits. It is important for us to understand because hosts, servers, and networks devices use binary addressing. A decimal is also a numbering system consists of 10 digits consisting of numbers from 0 to 9. There is a binary and decimal positional notation. A positional notation is a digit that represents different values depending on the position of the digit occupies in the sequence of numbers. A binary positional notation system is based on two that are called the radix. Its positional value is the digit, and that position represents the unit value. Therefore, the value listed from right to left represents units of ones, twos, fours, eights, and more. While a decimal positional notation system is based on 10 that are called the radix, its positional value is listed from left to right, and that represents units of thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones. It is necessary to understand how to convert a dotted decimal IPv4 address to binary. And a useful tool is the binary positional value table. Understanding the binary notation is important when determining if two hosts are in the same network. When determining the network portion versus a host portion, it is necessary to look at the 32-bit stream. Within the 32-bit stream, a portion of the bits identify the network and a portion of the bits identify the host. The bits within the network portion of the address must be identical for all devices that reside in the same network. The bits within the host portion of the address must be unique to identify a specific host within a network. An IP address has a subnet mask that is used to identify the network portion or the host portion of the IPv4 address. Also, it has a default gateway that identifies the local gateway to reach remote networks. When the IPv4 address is assigned to a device, the subnet mask is used to determine the network address where the device belongs. The network address represents all the devices of the same network. To identify the network portion and host portion, ending process was used. The logical end is one of the three basic binary operations that is used in digital logic. The other two is the OR and NOT. All the three of them are used in data network, but only AND is used in determining the network address because it is the comparison of two bits that produce the results. There is an alternate shorthand method of identifying a subnet mask that is called the prefix length. Prefix length is the number of bits that is set to 1 in the subnet mask. It is written in slash notation, followed by the number of bits in the subnet mask and prepend it with a slash. Each network address contains host addresses and a broadcast address. There are three types of addresses in a network: the network address, the host address, and the broadcast address. A network address is a network, and a subnet mask refers to a network where all hosts within the network share the same network address. The host portion is all zeros. The host address is a unique IP address assigned to hosts and devices. The host portion always contains assorted zeros and ones, but never all zeros or all ones. The first host address is the first available host addresses, IP addresses that always have a host portion of all ones and ends with a 0. A broadcast address uses the highest address in the network range that the host portion is all ones. It is a special address that communicates with all hosts in a network. Devices can be assigned an IP address either statically or dynamically. A host can also be configured with a static IPv4 address. Assigning hosts static IP addresses is acceptable in small networks. A host can obtain IPv4 addressing and information automatically. The host is the DHCP client and requests IPv4 address information from a DHCP server. The DHCP server provides an IPv4 address, subnet mask, default gateway, and other configuration information. DHCP stands for the Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol that is generally the preferred method of assigning IPv4 addresses to hosts on a large network. A host successfully connected to a network that can communicate with other devices in one of the three ways, which is the unicast, the multicast, and the broadcast. A unicast is a process of sending a packet from one host to an individual host. It is used for normal host-to-host communication in both a client or server and a peer-to-peer network. A unicast packets use the address of the destination device as the destination address can be routed through an internetwork. A multicast is a process of sending a packet from one host to all hosts in network. It reduces traffic by allowing a host to send a single packet to a selected set of hosts that subscribe to a multicast group. A broadcast is a process of sending a packet from one host to all hosts in a network. It may be directed or limited. A directed broadcast is sent to all hosts on a specific network. A broadcast traffic is used to send packets to all hosts in the network using the broadcast address for the network. Public IPv4 addresses, which are globally routed between the Internet Service Provider or the ISP routers. However, not all available IPv4 addresses can be used on the Internet. There are blocks of addresses that is called private addresses that are used by most organizations to assign IPv4 addresses were introduced because of the depletion of the IPv4 addresses to Internet hosts. Private IPv4 addresses are not unique and can be used by an internal network. The Internet Service Provider or ISP routers would see that the source IPv4 addresses in the packets is from private addresses and would score the packets. There are certain addresses such as the network address and broadcast address that cannot be assigned to host. There are also special addresses that can be assigned to hosts but with restrictions on how those hosts can interact within the network. The system used today is referred to as the classless addressing. The formal name is the classless interdomain routing or the CIDR, or it is pronounced as the CIDR. The default gateway address can only be obtained dynamically from the RA message. The stateless or stateful DHCP v6 or the DHCP version 6 server does not provide the default gateway address when the RA message is either the SLAAC or the SLAAC with stateless DHCP version 6. The client must generate its own interface ID. The client knows the prefix version of the address from the RA message but must create its own interface ID. The interface ID can be created using the EUI64 process or a randomly generated 64-bit number. To ensure the uniqueness of any IPv6 unicast address, the client may use a process known as duplicate address detection or the DAD. This is similar to an ARP request for its own address. If there isn't a reply, then the address is unique. All IPv6 devices must have an IPv6 link local address. A link local address can be established dynamically or configured manually as a static link local address. Configuring the link local address manually provides the ability to create an address that is recognizable and easier to remember. Although IP is only a best effort protocol, The TCP or the IP suite does provide for messages to be sent in the event of certain errors. These messages are sent using the services of ICMP. ICMP is available for both IPv4 and IPv6. ICMP version 4 is the messaging protocol for the IPv4, and the ICMP version 6 provides these same services for the IPv6, but it includes additional functionality. The terms ICMP will be used when referring to both the ICMP version 4 and the ICMP version 6. So the Internet of today is significantly different than the Internet of the past decades. The Internet of today is more than email, web pages, and file transfer between computers. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy and understand my video. So I'm Kisha Lyka Villanueva of IT 2105.